Good morning. My name is Ollie, and this is Thoughts with Ollie. And seeing by the video, of course, you're seeing that this is going to be a video mostly talking about love and my experience with love. Don't mind the mic, it's the only thing I could prop it on for now. Okay, cool. My experience with love has been very educational, very life changing because there's a saying I like to give to myself, or a saying I like to tell people that the most growth I've had as a human being came from having a relationship with a woman, or a woman has to play a role in me growing as a human being. Otherwise, I would have been the same naive, unwalking kid that I was back in grade five. Back in grade five, I can say this. This is this video was actually inspired by the fact that it's been a little over a year since I've ended my last and possibly one of the most important relationship, but my last relationship it's been a little over a year. And this past year actually also signifies the first year since grade six that I haven't had a woman actively involved in my life. So this was the first year I've lived without a woman. So 8 years ago, it's been 8 years since there wasn't a constant woman themed around in my life, or who I had placed in my life. And there's been a lot of learning and a lot of pain, of course, especially coming from the my last situation. Um, just to put it out there, there's not gonna be like a bashing like, yo, my ex did this, my ex did that. Well, no, bruh. I don't have time for that. I wish nothing but success and a good life and peace and God's love amongst my ex or whoever, whichever woman I might bring up. Obviously, I'm not gonna bring up any names, obviously for the protection of those human beings. But then, if you know me, I guess if you know me on a personal level, you'll be able to be like, "Oh, you're talking about this one. Oh, you're talking about this one. Oh, shit." So yeah. Also, I'm not gonna be too explicit when it comes to the events that occurred. Also, going back to the protection of these human beings, whether they hurt me or not, as I said, like in the previous video, that I don't base my reactions to people based on what they did to me. Um, if you hit me and I hit you back, it's not because you hit me, it's because I decided to hit you back. It's my mentality. So I wish nothing but the best for these people, and I will try to protect them. So, into this video. So yeah, like I said before, the most growth I've had in my life was because a woman was involved. Taking it back to grade six, grade seven, that's when I had a relationship for a very man. Okay, the way it started was, it was a prank type of thing. Call me an asshole, call me whatever, but that's how it actually started. So the boys dared me to date, arguably now, arguably, arguably is a strange, one of the most chopped human being, one of the most chopped hands on the in school. She wasn't chopped. She was like, she wasn't everyone's cup of tea. Let me say that. So there was a day, wada with my 12-year-old game, Kamushela Wanawatu, and this came to this, and relationship started, and it was a very weird dynamic relationship actually, because we're still kids, we're still very shy, we're still very and like we would never be able to talk to each other. Like she could be here, and like I would never be able to speak to her, or like she wouldn't be able to speak to me, because like it's still like Should be here, I'm here. The only way we can talk is like through the phone. Like, yo, are you okay? Umuntu ula. And it was cute and all, I learned, over time it became that thing of, damn, I actually do like her. Um, I actually do like her, and she's actually pretty cool. As much as I wanted to get out at certain points, but like I can't forget the feelings that um I at some point I started caring about this human being, regardless of whatever my boys would say if they ever do see this video. I genuinely did care about this human being, and regardless of anything else I had going on at the time, those that know. Um, some say I fumbled heavy, possibly did, but I fell in love with personality. When my first relationship is when I fell in love with personality. Shocker. So yeah, that ended in a very snacks way. Not snacks, but ugh, yeah, this the way this relationship ended was not the best, because she ended up going to my boy at the time, and then that shit only lasted for like 3 days, and then it was no, I really love you, and then I was there like shit, because one thing I like about myself that I still apply now, if someone wants to do me dirty, I don't hold any grudges. Like she broke up with me, went to my boy, I was like, I pay shit. If that's what you want, cool. I was extremely cool with them. I even wanted them to be like, yo, go for the stars, get married, whatever. I genuinely had no um what's the English word? Resentment towards them. I was genuinely happy for them to be like, oh, fuck yeah. I mean, it hurt like, damn, you really went for my boy. But I'm like, he's what it is, bro. Life moves on. And then she went back to me, and then that also ended the game. But then the learning curve came, relationship ended again, or there was turmoil, some other things, and I went through like emo-ish, bad boy-ish phase where like I was being shamkhaha, like I was hella signed, like I didn't want to talk to people, or I was just chilling on my own. Aura farming, basically. I was aura farming before aura farming, and but like it wasn't a thing. Like I was genuinely hurt, and I couldn't like comprehend. Like I wanted to cry, I wanted to hit something, but the peaceful man that I am, I genuinely cannot. I cannot crash out. I cannot get angry. I've never seen myself angry. I've never indulged in anger. I've never found joy in feeling anger my whole life. Maybe there were parts where I was annoyed, sure, but anger where it leads me to do something stupid. No, I've never actually felt like that. So I went through that whole phase trying to understand why I felt like this, and the naivety of being a kid. It kind of slowly started coming out to the point where after that relationship, I felt that, or that whole situation, I felt that I had grown as a human being, and to this day, honestly, to this day, I'm extremely grateful to that human being, regardless of if they hurt me or not. But then if I had never went through that situation, or they had never allowed me to be in that situation with them and come out of that, I never would have been the person I am now, which is someone that I'm extremely grateful for, and someone that I can actually see becoming still a human being, regardless of whoever my next person is going to be, or whoever I plan to connect with in future. So I'm extremely grateful for that person. I there was your third eye pulled one of these, and then it went back to sleep, type of thing. So yeah, that was my first thing. I woke up a bit to be like, oh, this is what life outside of the boys is, having, your first relationship. Even though to this day my boys still flame me for, You picked that hand out of what you could have had. Come on, bro. Dog, it's ba re lerato ga le bone, ba re lerato ga le kgethe, lerato le dom. And I can genuinely say, regardless of whoever's gonna say anything, I genuinely did love and care for this human being, even though I had a very funny way, not funny way, but it wasn't conventionally how someone would express it. And I don't know how that human being felt, but oh well, here's what it is. Fast forward to some way before my last relationship, which took all of high school. There was another girl. There was another girl who I had a situation ish with, who had a situation with back in primary school, and there it was generally like that was ke lom. There only lom. I can't lie to you, and I genuinely did like like this was like everything. Like damn, damn. If you're seeing this, yeah, like we had that thing. We had that thing. Um, yeah. So for her, it didn't last too long. So I'm not gonna speak too deeply on it. But again, growth through pain, where the situation ended, and I had to see the world for what it is, and again, bit of an emo phase that everyone goes through. But again, thank you to the strength of the Lord that grabbed me. I mean, through that whole process. Then going into my last relationship, it's already like 12 minutes in, and I haven't said anything else. But again, this is just brain thoughts that I'm going in with this. My last relationship was there was a lot. It started in grade 8, end of grade 8, and I could tell you the love story and all of that, and how funny it is. Again, extremely grateful to this human being, and regardless of situation or what had happened or what had turned out after the whole thing, I wish absolutely no harm, and I genuinely do pray for you and everyone else that I do speak about. This is just no passion to you and everything, but this is just me just saying my story, and there's a lesson that's going to come with this. That was arguably a lot for a 14-year old to deal with. I'll tell you the dynamics of it. We got together in grade 8. It was literally copy paste. Low key, she was extremely shy. She was everything. It was cute and all, and then we broke up mid grade 9. Calm. And then got back together, I think in grade 9, maybe grade 10, beginning grade 10, somewhere there. She moved, and then it was a bit of a long distance thing. Wada. Calm. And came back to our school, and then, yeah, carried on until first year and all these other things. And then first year happened, and then it ended in my first year, and then it wasn't the best. Well, it ended, and I'll dive deeper into why it ended. But there's a lot of messages that, or a lot of lessons I learned from this one, because we went through a lot together. I was there for her, she was there for me. I was the distant type. This was also part the time when I realized that I'm not the best communicator, nor I am right now. um I realized that I am the type of person that will place my partner at center of life. um for the fact that I don't speak to anyone, I will put you at center, but that doesn't mean that you are my center. you know I will prioritize you, but you are not the most important thing in my life. There's life with you, there's life without you. I completely acknowledge that. This was also the dynamics I gave to my ex, especially the beginnings, that I'm not the controlling type. You have your life, I have my life, and we'll see what happens after that. If you say you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do that, you want to do that, that's cool. Communicate. Just communicate with me, and it's cool. If you feel like you want to break up or you find someone better, tell me. It's cool. I have no hard feelings. This is what life is. This is how we grow. This is how I'm not your father. I'm not God to tell you what to do. I'm just a boy. Just a boy. So it's just a boy. So calm. Um, so the whole dynamics was I'm not gonna control you, but just talk to me. Communication. That's what I emphasized. You know, even if you're not feeling like it, communicate, and I will do my best. And I'll be honest, I wasn't the best communicator. The irony that I was the one that brought up the clause. I would, go maybe days not talking to her, and obviously that was wrong. I'd leave her hanging sometimes, but she'd always be there waiting, and she'd always be there to come to me to be like, "Hey, dog, what's going on? You're hurting me, wada. Sometimes it would go in, like it would really hurt. Sometimes it's just like, "Phew, can't lie. Or sometimes it would just be a type of thing. Um, but like, I genuinely value the fact that we communicated through the struggles, through whatever. Even though it was hard for me to actually talk about how I feel most of the time, even though, again, the irony of me being the one that came up with the clause of let's talk, let's communicate if you have any problems. I was still the one who was struggling a lot, especially when it came to expressing my thoughts and how I really feel. I'd basically be that guy of, I already told you my favorite color. What else do you want to know about me, dog? Like, I'm a boy. Like, shit. Um, yeah. Relationship went on. Communication was the overarching theme. It was going like this. Looking at it back now, obviously that once you leave a situation, once you review it, you know that you could have done better plays here and here, but I can't do that anymore. That's cool. So I could have communicated a lot better. Um, the person who I am now would have essentially been perfect for who she was back then. And this is not saying that I want to go back with her. That's a disclaimer for everyone, that anyone that knows me that thinks I'm going back. No, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. But the person who I've learned to be or grown up to be now would have been perfect for communication, because then it was just to communicate and hard, but now I believe in honest, ugly truth. Whether it hurts or not, tell me. Whether it is uncomfortable, tell me. I'm someone that now believes in uncomfortable conversations as many times as you have it. As many times as you have it. Um, Going back to the relationship essentially ended with um problem communication on my end. Just to express my feelings on the whole thing. So at the end of it, um, last year, my first year, I had did a whole 180 when it came to my communication style, where I was in there. I was like, I was a D1 like communicator, where like I'd check up, I'd call, I'd do this, 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 I'd do this. But on her end, it was a burden. When I made time, she didn't have time. When I wanted to talk, she didn't want to talk. When I wanted to call, she didn't want to call. when I understand the dynamics of it all. We have two different lives. She ended up moving to a different province. I stayed. The reason why I stayed is gonna be in a different video, but she went to a different province to school, and I stayed in the beautiful province of Gauteng. And I had to fix my own life and figure out what happened. And also, I didn't have a phone, whatever. So our communication essentially started from the minute she moved, and all these other things. Before she moved, we did have a talk about, yo, dog, can you do this long distance thing? I was like, I can try. I've never done long distance, I've never done long distance to this scale. We have done it before where you went to another school, and it was cool. But to this scale where it's across country, it's gonna be a challenge. But like I emphasized, the only way we can make it work is through communication and talking. Very calm. So, especially for last year, I believe that she can also attest to this, that I held up my end of the bargain. I tried to communicate. I did communicate. I opened up the channels to communicate, and on her end, she can also agree that she didn't come to the party. Again, life dynamics and all these other things. Calm. True. So yeah, um, I had multiple talks with her just to make sure that, yo, dog, are you still in this? Did you find someone? I mean, dog, like, I'm not gonna chase. I'm not gonna chase. Like, generally, if you genuinely did find someone, because it is what it is, bro. Like, please, I'm not gonna force you to stay in this, knowing that it doesn't fit with the whole Ocean theme of your life. But then just again, let me know. Respect me enough. It's one thing to love me. Respect me enough to tell me the truth. Even if you did the worst thing, yo, I did it with this person, I did that, or I no longer love you. Honesty. It will hurt in the moment. I genuinely believe it will hurt in the moment, but I'll be grateful for you for an eternity for being honest with me and letting me have a choice in the matter of having to stay. Calm. So we had multiple talks about her communication was slacking. Yes. Um, it got to a point where I was begging for her time. It got to a point where I was on my hands and knees, hitting one of these for her time and attention. As I feel like it's fair to say I was entitled to it, concerning considering my position in my life, my so quote unquote position in her life. But it never came. It never came, and through that whole time, a lot about me changed. Like, this is before even the relationship happened. I mean, ended. Like, in the time period to the dying embers of it all, a lot about me changed. I felt insecure about myself. I felt unsure of if I was enough. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not understanding. Maybe I shouldn't be asking for this. I started feeling like I'm not good enough for this person, knowing how much I genuinely do love and care for this person, and genuinely do see a future. And as closed off as I am, this was someone that I was genuinely saying for life. Or I don't know if everyone still does that, but I'm gonna do it. But this is someone who I genuinely said, fuck what anyone says, fuck what my homies said, fuck whatever anyone has an opinion about. This one, I'm putting it in. I'm locking this one in, especially when I finish school. Because like I'd mentioned in the previous video, that she's someone that understood and took the time to understand me and my situation, where I come from, and she loved me regardless of whether she was here and I was down here, especially on a economic point of view. And also spiritual, emotional point of view. She latched on to the boy, even though the boy was hella chopped. I'll probably put in a picture of me back in. Yeah, sis, I'll put in a picture of how I looked when this person found me, and um, I was hella chopped, no motion, nothing. But then she saw, I don't know what she saw, but then she saw the boy, and I guess she decided she was like, that one, my, come. But then yeah, the relationship ended up, I went from yo, just let's talk every day to okay, let's talk 2 minutes nyana, 2 minutes nyana during the day, to yo, can you call me? Okay, let's call each other to call me whenever you're free or text me whenever you are free. This is coming from my end because every single time I called her, it was a bad time. Every single time I texted her, it was a bad time. Every single time I tried to make any effort to try and reach out, it was never a good time. And the thing that hurts me the most, and I did say this to her, was what hurts me the most is I know your real life and I know you're probably not comfortable where you are, or maybe, I don't know. But the thing that hurted me the most was you're not allowing me to be there for you, knowing our history and everything that we've been through. If me, it got to the point where every single time we would be on a call, I would never bring up my own personal life. I was clinging on to the fact of tell me about you, tell me about you, tell me about you, because I don't know you anymore. And I don't want to not know you anymore. Because again, I see you as someone who I'm gonna keep in my life for a very long time. Eventually marry, even though at the time I did not believe in the concept of marriage, but I'll be like, this one, making an exception. Um, I like I said, I was begging for her time to be like, call me when it got to a point I was like, you call me when it's good for you. That's not my proudest moment, but it happened and there's nothing I can do about it. Around the end of August last year, that's when I was like, nah. Because it got to a point where we'd go days or weeks without communicating at all. And when she'd pick up, when she'd call me, eventually call me, I'd be like, hi stranger. Literally, she can attest to this. I'd be like, hi stranger, how are you? Wah, wah, wah. Don't shout, don't crash out. I'm not a crash out by heart. I'm not a crash out by nature. She also knows this. Or anyone that knows me knows I'm not a crash out at all. I've never crashed out ever. I'd be like, hi stranger, how are you? How's school? How's this? How's life? What did you eat today? Calm, blah, blah, blah. Act like we've been talking or whatever. And then she'd be like, yo, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, cool. Mara, uyabona ukuthi kwenzakalani manje. Yeah, she'd be like, nah, it's cool. I'll change, I'll change, I'll change. Change never came. Promise change, opt for change. Can I get $1? As request. It never came. And part of my reasoning was probably I'm being crucified for what I did in the past, especially on a communication point of view, where, I was also a bit distant. It felt like now that the wheels have turned, now she's the one that, um, I guess people say I have to chase now. But it felt like I was being crucified. And over again, she was like, no, I'm not doing that, what. It felt like it. I felt like less of a man at the time. I felt like blah, blah, blah. And the painful thing is this all happens when I'm able to do things now. I'm able to go out. I have the money for this, that, and the third. I have the money for gifts. I have the money for going out. And it just decided to crumble and fizzle away. Because that was also, like I said in the previous video, one of the things that was a problem in our relationship, the whole financial point of view. And I was up, and I was like, now that I'm up, I can do things for you to show you how grateful I am for you being in my life. But life has very funny ways of playing jokes onto you. Cool. Um, Relationship ends, and she said some very hurtful, insightful words towards me when it ended. One, you don't change. You have never changed since the first time I met you. You always deal with problems the same. You always run away from them. Second, you never love me. Cool. Those hit me the most because she attacked me for being the human being. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and be like I was a saint, perfect boyfriend, 8 Mile, whatever. No, that's not who I was. I had my flaws, and arguably they were bigger than hers. But you can't say I didn't love you. You know for a fact that that's not true. You know for the didn't change thing. I can attest to it. The not being able to talk. We haven't communicated enough for you to know that I haven't changed. Whoop. Oh. We haven't communicated enough, especially in the past couple of months, for you to know that I haven't changed. You haven't given me the chance to show you that I have or have not changed at all. You're just basing it on emotion and obviously the painfulness of a breakup. Wada. Calm. As the bro that I am, I try to make jokes. I try to uplift her. You know, it's not that deep, bro. It is deep, but I'm trying not to make it as deep as what it is. You know, I'm trying to make her laugh, trying to make sure she's okay, trying to check up on her in the moment of the whole thing to make sure that she's not utterly crashing out. She's not a crash out, but she used to fight though, and I got her out of fighting. I got her out of fighting, so that's cool. Um, so yeah, time after that happens, and obviously, you guys, let me put it like this: a relationship hurts. A breakup hurts on both ends, whether I'm the one that initiated it or I'm the one that is receiving the breakup. It hurts on both ends. So for me, it I had to heal from the whole insecurity and demasculinity of it all. That yo, I wasn't enough. I'm insecure. I was begging. What. A lot of my friends flame me for this, obviously. But they were also there for me. I had to unlearn all of those things, and again, to this person, I'm extremely grateful for you allowing me to be in your life and experience life with you to the point where when you see Ollie in high school, you can't leave her out of the picture. That's how embedded we were. Calm. I learned a lot about me in this past year. I learned, I've reworked a lot of the things that quote unquote were toxic, quote unquote were not pleasurable to relationships. I've scared of it all. I'm scared of it all. Some insecurities are still here, some are not. You know, the first stage was, how will I ever find someone that will love me like her? Because she accepted me for who she is, for who I am. And there aren't that many people that exist that will love me, especially me, my very brokenness situation. There aren't that many people that will do that, you know. Literally, if I was to get into a relationship now, all I can give you is good vibes, good psychological game, and I can challenge you psychologically. I can build you as a human being psychologically, emotionally, have good emotional intelligence, and um, yeah, yeah, yeah. best. But yeah, bruv, the struggle of the black South African man. But it's calm. Um, I've gained mentors. I've changed my life. I've found where's my Bible? I found God again in Christianity, and again, okay, I'll talk about my religious path in another video. But I found God again, and God as a guiding light, and God as my source of love, and I've learned to separate my worldly relationships from my heavenly relationship with God. Where I am right now is at a point where I'm not looking for a soulmate. I'm not looking for um my forever partner. I'm well aware that people change, people do this and that and third, and we aren't all gonna be the same person for the rest of our lives. But um I'm looking for a compliment. I'm looking for someone who completes me even though I'm complete, and an add on. I'm looking for someone who obviously will understand and communicate and know who I am. Arguably now, like I said in the previous video, that where I am right now, I wouldn't necessarily take up someone because I'm not happy with my situation, especially on a financial point of view, which is arguably a minuscule reason to not be in a relationship, but it's very important to me and how I see life and how I believe a relationship be taken forth. I don't want to build on hopes and dreams. "Yeah, I can give you this, I can give you that." No, I don't. I don't want to be that guy. Um, I'm too awake right now to be in a relationship. You know, get that thing. I don't want to be an idiot. I wanna know you completely. I wanna know who you are intuitively. Do you have a mole on your pinky toe? What? Okay, that's kind of stalkerish ish. But I need to know 100% who I'm going into because that's what I'm gonna give to you. It's a piece I wrote where I said, "Let's get naked." Um, if I was to meet someone, I'll be completely honest with you. I will tell you my faults, my goals, my dreams, my lies, my insecurities, my shortcomings, my winnings, my toxic traits, everything. I'm gonna tell you everything from the beginning. I don't believe in this half-assed. You'll get to know me as we go on. No, no, no. I don't believe in that. I respect your time more than I do my own time. I can fuck around with my time. I'm supposed to be studying right now. I have a test tomorrow, but I'm doing this. Hence, I don't respect my time as much as I should, but I respect your time more than I do my time. And I respect you so much that I'm willing to give you the choice to be like, do I want to stick with the situation going forward? Do I need to be with the person? No. That was also something that I had to realize. Jorge, I don't want to need someone. I want to need you. Or I just want you around. When it's need, it becomes dependency. When it's dependency, it becomes, for me, I can't be dependent on a human being because I already have my source of everything in God. Obviously, that's the mindset I'm trying to put myself into. That everything for me is already provided by God, and human beings are just temporary, as Snax is gonna say, temporary pleasures or the worldly companions that we're not gonna last forever. When I have a constant supply of love and trust here in God, where people are ever changing and in their own right as they should. So I think I shot this video in the wrong aspect ratio, but it's cool. Um I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not the best person to be spitting game, everything. I can't share. I can't. I can't. nor am I looking for a relationship like as a necessity right now. If it was to happen, like if it does, like, boo, like happens that I do end up in a relationship, it wouldn't be something that I'm actively going to go and look at. It would be oh, yo, we vibing. Oh, calm, you cool person. Sharp, sharp. But like, even if like my soulmate can just pass me by, it's cool. I really couldn't give two cocks about it. So yeah, there's a lot of pain that I went through. There's things I found out after the relationship that are not very pleasing. Things I'll not going to go into, obviously, for the protection of the person that is concerned with this. But yeah, man, there's breakups hurt. And again, I'm thankful to this human being for allowing me to forget, allowing me to feel love. You know, I managed to go through the whole grieving process of the whole relationship, and that was a sign for me to show that you gave me the gift to love something. You gave me the gift to express love, because love isn't something that's innate to the human being. The only way that I believe, put that in, the only way that I believe humans express love is a reflection of God's love onto other things. Think of it as a mirror. We're not a source of light. We're only reflected and refracted out to everything else. So that's what I believe humans are. Humans are the mirror of God's love onto everything else. So, I want to love someone. I see now that I genuinely would like to have a partner. And, I'm slowly opening up to the concept of marriage and seeing what the hype is all about and all of that. I want to be open. I want to be able to love someone, a romantic partner, of course. Um, I want to be able to have kids. I've said this many times that I'd rather be a father than a husband. I'd rather, I can trust my kids more than I do a wife. And I still believe in that. It's like a 70-30 thing now where, now I genuinely want to trust my wife. I want to be able to have a best friend in my wife. I want to be able to have someone who I can have these difficult conversations, someone to check me when I'm wrong, someone to be there with me no matter what. Another thing is commitment. I believe in the commitment saying of I'm with you even if something better comes by. Even if your crush comes by, I'm with you because I'm with you and I want to build with you. That's why I feel like I'm not gonna try and adopt. I'm not gonna bash my old traumas onto my next person. That's one thing I'm going into, but I will, even if you are not my type, I believe that a single relationship can work as long as communicated, and I will be with you for as long as I can, because a relationship only ends when one party or you say it's over. It doesn't end because it says it's over. That's how a relationship ends. Um, yes, there are red flags. Yes, there are this and that, but right now, possibly the only thing that's stopping me from being in a relationship is the fact that I've done my healing, I've done my grieving, I've done the counseling and the work, but I don't know how I act in the whole situation. I don't know what my triggers will be. I don't know, especially from trauma response coming from such a very long relationship. I don't know what is gonna be my takes, but I want someone who I can be openly honest to, be like, this is a question I might actually have to ask my next person, to be like, yo, this is something I have to tell you. This is something I have to tell you. I still think about my ex, and it's not coming from a point of I want her. It's just that the pain that she brought me is so much that every single time I might trip out or crash out a bit, it's not a response to you, but it might be a trauma response to maybe something you did that reminded me of her. So can you just understand that sometimes maybe if I might act out, it's not because of you, it's because of that. And can you just understand that and just be there with me and just tell me that he's a shit. And yeah, this is something that I might actually have to ask. Um, I want someone to be able to say it all and not be afraid. You know, I wanna have someone who I don't have to sugarcoat anything and know truth. I want someone who's not even gonna sugarcoat things with me. Call it a business partner, call it a whatever you call it, but I need complete and utter honesty from whoever I'm gonna be in relationship with next, and that is what I'm gonna give you, and I respect it. I expect it back, and if you can't deem yourself to those terms and conditions, my terms and conditions, then you have the choice to not be in that situation. I'm not gonna force you to be like, you have to be in this if you wanna be. No, this is what I want. Oh, you don't want that? Cool. Nothing. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. The person who I'm with, the person who I'm destined to be with, will agree to such things, and unfortunately, that's not you. That's the mindset I'm going at this whole relationship now. This is a long ass video. This is very long. This is like 47 minutes now. Yeah. Again, thank you. Just to close it off because this is very long. I might do a part two on this sometime down the line. Thank you to all the women that I've been romantically involved with. Thank you for allowing me to be in your life and allowing me to share life with you or see life with you by my side and allowing me to learn and grow and seeing you grow at the same time. Thank you for being there for me or just allowing me to be, I guess, me at the time where now I think I'm the most honest version of myself. Maybe then I wasn't fully with who am now or who I truly am. But thank you for allowing me to go through those growing pains with you and allowing me to stick by your side and letting me feel. Also, thank you for allowing me to feel love. Thank you for allowing me the gift of being able to love you and me receiving, um, in my opinion, what was your love. Um, thank you. And there is nothing more that I wish for you but success and love and happiness and all the good things of the earth, regardless of how a situation ended, whether you were wrong, I was wrong. If I was wrong, I completely apologize from the deepest of my heart for anything I did bad to you. And if you feel like that's not enough, um, let me know. If you ever do watch this, let me know, and I will do my best to, I guess, apologize as many times as I have to, even though I don't. Society says I don't need to. I feel like I that's the least I can do for you allowing me to be who I am. And yeah, I hope you're safe. I hope you're good. I hope you're protected. I hope you are sheltered where you are and you're surrounded by loving people. And like a Bruno Mars, she's dancing with, I'm joking. Fuck! Um, yeah, this video has to try now. This has been Thoughts with Ollie. This is about love. And this is Ollie, of course. See you in the next one.